Sure shot, baby!
So, good day, everyone. We're here for another episode of the DVD show. So, for today, we have one of the best volleyball players during her time in the late 80s and early 90s. And she's also known as the mother of Kiefer, Thirdy, and Dani Ravena. I want to welcome into the DVD show Miss Mozzy Ravena. Thank you for coming onto the show.
Oh, thank you, Diego, and
Yeah.
congratulations on your show.
Yeah. Thank you so much po for coming,
Mhm.
joining me. You're the, as you know po, you're the second Ravena po to join. As Danny was the first Ravena po that I guested here.
Memorable experience nga, kayong dalawa. I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, she won't forget me daw po with what she did. Pero yeah,
For
that's
sure.
really funny.
For
Yeah. So
sure.
to start things off po, I just want to ask, how are you doing po? Like it's quarantine again. We're in MECQ as of this recording. And how have you been coping up with the second lockdown already in the past 2 years?
Well, actually, it's really getting more frustrating. I think for everyone naman. But you just have to, find things that you can actually do to siguro take your mind off all of these mga unfortunate events that we're experiencing. It's really parang a test of our mental toughness, no? But as athletes, of course, it's part of your parang training. So dapat I should be able to handle it.
Mm-mm.
So coping, I think, is
Yeah.
the better term.
Yeah. So with the coping po that you mentioned, what are some activities po that's new to you that you did during this whole pandemic na lampas 1 year na? Meron bang mga new things that you've been doing?
I never thought that I will be a plantita. As in never. Like before, I would
Yeah.
kill even yung mga cacti. I will
Yeah.
kill them all like crazy. But
Yeah.
when the pandemic started, so parang, oh, sige na nga, I want to do something different. So I started nga with yung mga, cheap plants, trying to propagate them.
Yeah.
Tapos eventually, now, parang I sort of, not naman sobra, but I like collecting na mga mas medyo rare plants, kind of, but not extreme, not yung mga
Yeah.
talagang mahal.
Yeah.
But I'm parang getting better at it. So, yun, it's something that makes me happy every day.
Okay, okay. Yeah, ang dami po na I see on social media that a lot
Yeah.
are really doing it now. Yeah.
Lalo na my age. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like in the background, pag in interviews that I watch po, like on TV, like in their background, it's like their new plants and stuff, new hobby.
Ano ba? I wanted to do that today. Actually, naghang ako ng one, but hindi ko nga mahal na malagay sa bahay.
Okay, okay.
I'm one of them.
Okay, yeah, it's really nice po kasi mapapatingin ka and you're like interested on what's new with that or what's unique about the plants, yung mga ganun. Maganda po
Ako
yun.
yan. Bandwagon.
Yeah, yeah, madami po nag-bandwagon. Yeah. So with your current work po, what are you doing po now? Kasi like that day you were like are you still like the commissioner of the Spikers, sir?
Yeah.
With the men.
Tournament director, yes. But actually, as much as you would like things to move, yun talagang your hands are tied. So, but still, I try to call yung mga coaches or the team owners para lang to keep them posted. We really want to play. Obviously, everybody wants to play yung women's and yung men's part. I'm sure they all want to start the tournament already. But yun na nga, because of yung mga IATF diba, rules and everything. So we can't really do anything about it. So parang slow process. Ayun pa, isa yun sa mga frustrations ko that you cannot parang move forward eh. So siguro we should wait and see. Unang-una yung PBL, if how it will go, if the bubble will click. So siguro from there, although yung men's naman, we're trying to talk to them if they want to go professional, or we're trying to see what ano rin nila, what their views on things. Kasi you cannot play if you're not professional, diba? But of course, when you turn professional, it entails a lot of licensing, syempre mga ganyan. So, pero mukhang okay naman sila. So that's the parang good news about that part.
Yeah, yung teams po ba? Is it only like 3? Yung last time na nabasa ko, parang 3 teams pa lang yung nag-yes na maging professional. Meron na bang mga bago?
Yes. Oh, more than 3 naman na. I think we can say safely siguro 6 to 7. Okay. So we just want, initially, I don't know lang, pero initially, we just wanted 8 teams talaga if we open the tournament. So, yun naman yung target.
Yeah. Did they practice na po ba before the ECQ or hindi pa?
They can't kasi 'di ba yung ruling, so they can only do parang individual conditioning, training, siguro. Tapos parang there was a time na allowed yung 5 or 6 players at a time. So pero na-stop din again. So talaga nakaka-frustrate even in the women's side.
Yeah.
Kasi isipin mo dapat April 11 opening ng PBL, tama ba? Parang dapat
parang
ganun
Yeah. April, I remember.
Crazy, di ba? Parang andyan
Yeah. So yung new NSA po, the one I mentioned earlier that was agreed upon like early this year, syempre it affects both the men's and women's volleyball. Ano po yung initial reaction nyo and how confident are you with the future of the country, the volleyball here in the country?
Well, siguro all I can say is kasi for a long time, ang gulo, di ba? Ang gulo for a long time. So ako hopeful is the word for this new bunch, di ba? Because talagang new people inside Medyo may mga old-timers, but generally, you have new faces, young ano tawag ito? Mga young volleyball players inside who really played the game. I think that's also important to me. That people there, at least most of them, really played the game. Or at least was part of, let's say, a team or something. That parang yung understanding talagang nandun. And I think, yun nga, I'm praying for the new people inside the NSA. And some of them naman, I know them. So, parang, yun nandun yung alam ko na sincere sila, yung sincerity is there, and the passion to make it work is there. So sana talaga it works, because I mean, if we have a really solid system and a solid program, I think magdi-develop talaga yung Philippine volleyball, diba? Especially you have the tools you have the players na, sayang, diba? We have tall players na, they have really good and skillful players, so sayang. So it's just a system to be put in place.
Yeah, I have high hopes din po. Like nung SEA Games, we did well for both men and women. And then itong this year po, like Jaja won a championship recently. And then Brian Bagunas.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, si Brian Bagunas and Mark Espejo, they do well also internationally for the men's. So it's really a great sight to see for the volleyball community here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The materials, parang we've waited for a long time to get really tall players and skillful ones.
Yeah.
And my bonus pa that they get to play abroad. Diba? People recognize them. So yung mga learnings nila abroad. So yung nandun na yung material. So it's easier for the NSA to form a really formidable national teams, both in the men's and women's division, diba? So hopefully.
Yeah. What do you think po? Do you think we can like propel ourselves? Because like nung SEA Games nga po, magaling yung men's and women. So syempre we're building off that tournament kasi yun na yung parang last major tournament that both national teams played in. So do you think po that we have a future in the national team for the both?
Yes, definitely. It's just kasi I think basically first and foremost, we have to have a solid NSA, a solid program.
Yeah.
Tapos because everybody has to be under that NSA. Why? Because I think scheduling is important.
Yeah, for sure.
So scheduling for every tournament. So that when you need a national team, and kasi yung FIBB, they release naman the schedule na for the year, yung mga tournament. So, tsaka usually it's on the same month, ganon. So, parang tayo rin, we prepare the national team accordingly, diba, to their schedule. So I think that's very important. And syempre, you would want also your national teams to have all those exposures that they can, that to join, meaning to join the tournaments abroad or internationally for them to get better and better. So yun yung important sa akin. I think yung scheduling of so that will only happen if yung NSA is above every tournament in the country.
Yeah, it's super important po yung practices and yung bond sa team. Kasi like for the past years, parang feeling ko yung talent is there, pero they don't have enough time to bond together. And then we keep changing coaches. Yeah, parang mahirap eh. And the lineup din pa iba-iba. I mean, they're all good, pero syempre iba pa rin yung team sport. So,
kaya kailangan nga the programs should be solid, and it should be a long-term program. It shouldn't be like a year or two. If you can, siguro, I remember yung Thailand before had a 20-year program. So, which really worked for them. So, alam mo yun, doesn't have naman to be 20, but at least, di ba, medyo
5
mas
to
longer.
10, mga ganun.
Yeah.
Are you in, how about po, like, are you in favor of having like a cadets? Like, you know how po in Gilas, like now, there's like a cadets, the ones in Calamba bubble before the ECQ. Sa volleyball po, do you think it's okay or is it good to have a similar concept? Like, kunwari yung mga nasa college, like Julina De La Cruz and those players, they have like a training pool na at a young age.
Yes, definitely. Because in volleyball, you also, like in basketball also, you have din yung mga under 70, mga 21 under, mga ganun. So, it's also good that you have a certain pool, diba, na you use often. So, yung transition talagang halos hindi mo mararamdaman, diba, going into the national team, yung seniors. So, it's really an advantage if you have that.
Yeah, definitely po. Sana po mangyayari yan kasi malayo mararating ng Philippines sa volleyball. And you see the passion of the players then and the fans when the games are there, and it's for them to tune into it.
True. Yeah. Agree.
So for the next part po, I wanna focus on your childhood and your upbringing po when you were playing volleyball at a young age, because not a lot of people know po that you were really good in the UST days po in the late 80s and early 90s, kasi people just think na you're the mother of sila Kiefer or a volleyball analyst or a commissioner, pero you used to be a volleyball player din po. So first off, what were your childhood activities po? Like, did you love volleyball first or meron ka pa pong ginawa before that?
Well, in grade school kasi, sobrang funny. Kasi parang we owned the school bus. So I wanted to play sobra, but I couldn't play because nga wala I have no ride. But I have to be home early. I'd be at syempre yung bus early, leave early from school. So, but eventually what happened ba in grade 6 yata, because I really wanted it so much. I tried. So I played for a year. Grade 6 ako sa CSA.
Oh, okay.
So I played for a year. Pero the next year nga, because it was so difficult, so hindi na naman, I wasn't able to play. So I changed school. I went to Maryknoll after for Miriam now. After grade school. So there naman, parang, yung captain ball was so sungit. She was like, talaga crazy sungit. So I didn't want to play. They would invite me like every year because parang every year, our class would win the intramurals. Parang yung intrams, always kami yung champions sa volleyball, and they would see me play. So every year, they would try to invite me for the varsity. So I got to try out for the varsity. Pero natatakot talaga ako dun sa team captain. So sabi ko, ayoko talaga. So when she left na, like, after 3rd year, going to 4th year, sabi ko, sige, I'll try it na. So the summer before going to 4th year, it's just so weird kasi in the beginning, our coach kasi was our music teacher. So in the beginning, so we were 13.
Yeah.
So I would always be the one sitting down. So di ba 6'6",
Yeah.
di ba? 6'6".
Yeah.
So always ganyan. Tapos sasabihin ko, sir, I think my driver's there now or something. So, ay, sorry, hindi ka na naman nakalaro. So, parang ako like, okay lang, ganun. Okay lang, sir. So after that, parang they changed coach coming into my 4th year. So, they hired again the coach na nag-last champion sa Gals.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Gals, in sa Lasal.
It sounds familiar.
It was the tournament for high school nung time ko. So anyway, so they came back. They were the coach now. So I was there training for parang summer before your 4th year. So anyway, it was so weird. So I would go, parang nag-extra training ako just to catch up. So in the same summer, parang they made me try out for the youth team. So same just same summer. So until siguro beginning of the 4th year na. So tas parang I made it to the youth team and eventually made it to the women's team. It's like, oh my God, that was so fast. It was so weird.
Yeah.
So lahat nung, kaya nga lagi kinikwento even to the girls na na-frustrate kasi they don't get to play, ganun. Sabi ko, grabe, things happen if you really work hard. Like ako, buong summer, I would go home na pasa-pasa because talagang, I would spend hours just trying to, hindi man perfect, but at least, develop yung skills ko. So anyway, so 4th year, tapos nag-champion kami sa Gals. Tapos tuloy-tuloy na siya. So I made it to the youth team and then made it to the seniors women's team. And then, yun nga, I played for UST. In UST, I spent 4 years kasi graduate na ako, so I didn't want to play my 5th. So nag-champion naman kami in 2 of my 4. We were always up against FEU kasi during that time it was talagang parang hindi Ateneo Lasal. It was it was UC and FEU in the women's division. So yun, I got naman 2 of my 4 years.
Yeah.
So that was parang yun na. Tapos after nun, I got married na and had children. So I stopped for a while, didn't work. And then eventually, yun nga si Tito Moying.
Oh,
si
yeah,
Tito
yeah.
Moying, sige na, try out na. Come on, parang doon na yung analyst thing. Ganun. Ako talaga ba? Parang I can't. Sabi ko, no, you can. You're so daldal. Sabi niya, mataldal ka. You can. Sabi niya. Sabi ko, okay ba compliment ba?
compliment po kasi tama naman mga sinasabi niyo sa TV.
Sabi niya, you're daldal. You can't do it.
Yeah.
So I tried and yun nga. So yun na yung story. And then now, parang 16 years after.
Yeah.
So you also got me, ganun. So kakatuwa naman. I love my work. Like crazy love my work.
What made you po continue to play? Kasi you mentioned nga na there were a lot of tough times na hindi ka pinapalaro or like ikaw nga yung isa lang na tao na sa bench. What made you continue? Was it more like the love for the sport lang or did people talk to you or something and made you continue?
No, maybe the challenge of me sitting there. Parang how I took it. Parang I took it na parang, wait, I have to do something, di ba? I have to be one of them. I have to be there on the court. So I made it instead of parang frustrating me more. It's more of I made it into a motivation to get better.
So yung yung 4th year po na naging champion kayo, was that in Miriam po or UST?
Yes, in Marinol. Marinol.
Okay. So
we got it back after 8 years.
Okay.
After 8 years, we got the trophy back to Marinol.
So nung time na yun, babad na po kayo or like you were first 6 na?
Medyo, yeah.
Okay. So what do you think naman changed with your game personally and bakit ka biglang pinalaro na and biglang nababad ka na nung year na yun mismo tapos nag-champion pa?
I think yung determination also because I wanted it so much. Plus, siguro yung extra challenge that I told you. Naging formula siya for me to get better. So tapos it also motivated me na if like yung konting development na I was able to go to the youth team. So what if I develop more? So eventually nga, nung gumaling again, went to the seniors team. So nakita ko yung pattern na if you really work hard, something will happen to you. So diba? So
for sure.
parang reward, parang I always get the reward. If I work hard, may reward after. So it's parang, nice, di ba? It's parang a nice feeling that parang may prize ka, di ba?
Yes.
Meron akong prize all the time. So yun yung motivation ko all the time.
Yeah, yung mahirap lang for mga ibang tao kasi kunwari nag-hard work sila ng matagal na tapos di pa nila nakukuha yung reward, yung patience nila na-test din eh. Pero at least for you po, yung patience nyo malaki and like you were able to withstand like the tough times.
Yes, and siguro blessed din ako that it happened yung parang in a short time. Because tama ka naman, sometimes it gets to you also when you're working hard for, di ba, a lot, parang many years and wala masyado nangyayari. But again, yung patience mo and hard work will lead to something eventually, for sure.
Yeah, that's something po that I also believe in. Like even if kunwari di ka nga like successful for like the first few months, malay mo like in the latter portion of the year, magkakaroon
in
na
God's time, diba?
Yeah.
It's a cliche, but they always say in God's perfect time.
Yes po. So nung UST po for college, yung one thing po that I want to ask is how did you go po to UST? Like did you try out or did they get you ganun? Kasi in comparison like in the volleyball scene like now, it's more of like recruitment na and may mga in-offer and yung may mga connections for or certain players to them to get to the schools ganun. Pero nung time niyo po, was it like yung basic lang na try out and then kung magaling ka makukuha ka ganun?
No, there's recruitment also.
Okay.
So I was also recruited by a few schools. Pero kasi I wanted to be a doctor.
Oh, okay.
So pre-med in UST is one of the best So I went to UST thinking na yun na nga, I would go to med school. So I took a pre-med course, BS MedTech. So I took a pre-med course and then plus, syempre it's a plus factor that UST would always be one of the contenders every year for the championship.
Yeah.
So plus yung another thing was the coach, the national team coach before, August Santa Maria, was also the coach of UST. So parang for me it was hindi naman no-brainer, but it was parang maybe my perfect spot, di ba, at that time.
Yeah. How tough was it po for you? Kasi syempre now, like the athletes, they get courses na hindi pre-med or like yung medyo mas lighter load. But then for you, how did you balance it po with the UAP and pre-med?
You know, when I look back, it's crazy kasi I had semesters that I had 31 units. I didn't know how I was able to do it. But kasi before naman, practices were like 3 times a day. Unlike now, it's every day, Monday to Saturday, to sometimes twice a day pa. So talagang tough on them now. Iba-iba rin talaga. It was different back then.
Oh, okay. So nung UST stint niyo po, you mentioned nga that you won 2 championships and you had the national team coach in August Santa Maria. Yeah, what was his like best lessons that he imparted to you personally na hanggang ngayon po nadadala niyo pa rin kahit di na kayo volleyball player?
You know, si August, that's why he is one of the best coaches pa rin up to now. Sayang nga ako I feel na had been well kasi medyo may stroke si Coach August, but ang dami pa sana niyang players na pwedeng na-develop. And Coach August, one thing about him, as many would say, he's just not your ordinary coach because he's a life coach also. Meaning, parang he brings out the best of you inside the court, but also outside. So he's kind of strict, as in crazy strict. Yung if you miss practice, it has to be a really good, you have to have a good reason, as in really good. Hindi pwede yung kahit yung funny to because lagi namin joke to, like kung may namatayan ka, sasabihin niya, bakit? Kung pumunta ka, mabubuhay ba? Yung gano'n.
Mm.
yung ganun ka,
Yeah.
yung ganun ka strict talaga. But eventually you would think na parang he is really part of who you are now, like what you are now as a person. Yung life coach talaga siya. Marami siyang naturo sa'yo dun sa discipline that he instills during the time na you play. Akala mo pa na volleyball lang, but in the end, it's not. He's really a teacher, parang your guidance counselor in his own funny way. Pero eventually you will know talaga. You become a better person after you gone through yung varsity years under August and
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yung team niyo po, you mentioned nga that FEU and UST yung dominant nung years na yon. So what do you
Yeah.
think were the reasons kung bakit dominant po? Was it the coaches or yung opponents, baka hindi pa masyadong malakas yung players, or magaling yung teammates mo?
You know how it goes when they say panapanahon. You know,
Yeah.
parang may time talaga na like before, kung Ateneo yung kalaban namin, alam na namin that ganon will win over them. Just because before sa Ateneo, I don't think they give out scholarships. So talagang hardworking lang yung mga students na nag-join ng volleyball team. Parang extra lang talaga nila, yung passion lang talaga nila to play. So, tapos kaya yun, that's why I always say, if you have a good program, things will really happen. So when they improve their program, so eventually, slowly, nag-improve sila. Ang lasal naman, ever since, rin sila naman, competitive. Pero they became more competitive when they started yun, heavy recruiting. Tapos si Ramil then became the coach.
Yeah.
And he's also one, talaga good coach na can train and coach at the same time. So, ganun lang. Yung program talaga has to be there. And it has to be a solid program na hindi pa iba-iba for, let's say, 2 years, 3 years. Kailangan talagang tuloy-tuloy.
Yeah. How about po with the volleyball on the court mismo? Kasi syempre matagal na, like 20, 30 years ago na yung time nyo. What were the major differences during your time to this time in the UAP, at least when you were playing for UST po, and then compare it to like the UAP now?
Well, a lot, Red, because I think yung one is yung mga technology in conditioning, in your personal training, that helps a lot. Syempre, in molding, let's say, a player. Diba? You would see yung physique, diba? Pati yung skills nila, may mga equipments, may mga training, may mga drills that they do now that really improves yung skill sets nila. Before, meron naman, but it's really more talent yung parang what you have, yung ganon. And siguro, and a little bit of yung toughness mo. As you say, yung angas mo sa court, yung ganon. So, it was more like that before. Unlike now, it's more systematic, di ba? It's ganon. So, technical, di ba? And ang dami ng plays.
So for you, what do you prefer po? The older style or the one now?
Well, syempre now. I would think now. Syempre, we had our days. Kasi minsan, syempre, if like we talk about when we watch, let's say, mga volleyball games, tapos yung mga older ones would, syempre, reminisce and discuss how we were before. It was also good. Yung parang, kasi show of talent. So, raw talent ka kung gaano ka kagaling lang. And also, yung fight mo lang inside na mental toughness. Because sometimes, when it's too systematic, you get, di ba, parang robotic.
Yeah, limited yung magagawa mo din.
There has, you have to have a line where you parang have the use of your heart in your head, as against parang robotic ka na. Yeah. So sometimes they also forget that. So, yun naman yung medyo, pag yung mga older ones yung nagkakwentuhan, it's kind of your yabang na parang yung mental aspect always, it was always there for us. Parang ganun. But pero now, syempre, I mean like, that's a little, lang naman, parang adjustment to the players now. Because, yun nga, ang lalaki nila, hahaba nila, diba? They're stronger, diba?
Yeah. Even po in basketball kasi like they always argue if they like the older style or the newer style of basketball. Pero syempre mas advanced po yung ngayon. Same din, mas
Yeah.
talented yung players, mas matatangkad, mas mabibilis, ganun. So same lang din yung parang argument.
Yeah, but di ba, if you get like the best part of each, di ba, I think mas maganda, like if for basketball, for example, if you're a systematic player, pero kung matuto ka ng mga street basketball smarts, that can also help your game, which is parang I think, ganun yung sa kids ko, yung parang may gulang.
Yeah.
Diba? You also learn that part and incorporate in your new game, diba? In your systematic game.
Yeah. During your time po, as you mentioned, parang you stopped playing kasi wala rin naman parang pro leagues yung time yun na yun eh. So ano yung, like you po, what did you do after playing and also like your teammates? Kasi syempre parang wala namang future masyado here nung time na yun for pro volleyball.
Yeah, the only way before that, after graduating, is that you enter yung mga military services so you can still play volleyball. One, because they have their own tournament. Two, if you're called for the national team, you can actually practice and play for the national team without parang yung continuous with continuous compensation from the military. So you are allowed. So some of them, yung talagang who still wants to play for the national team, they enter like the Navy, the Air Force. So a lot of them keep now, marami pa rin.
Okay. And then did you do anything po, like any jobs before you became the ABS-CBN analyst? No? I don't know, V-League analyst. Yeah,
no, I think I was just, a housewife for siguro mga 12, 14 years, ganun. So, I was just watching the kids like go to Milo West or to Bantay.
Yeah.
Yung mga games nila or practices at school. Pero, no regrets naman. Seeing them now, I think, I did the right thing.
So, what year po did you start na nag-analyst?
What year ba yun? Basta siguro mga 15 years ago or 16 years ago with Shakey's Video. Pero during that time naman, even if I was a housewife, parang I got a second degree, yung mga things that I can do, pero still, yung focus yung kids.
So what convinced you po? Like you said nga that Lolo Moying convinced you to become a analyst for Shakey's V-League. Was he like the main one or I don't know, yung na-miss mo na ba yung volleyball kaya din bumalik ka sa pagiging analyst hanggang ngayon?
Well, I would say he was the main one because I did not see that coming. And, well, kasi parang I think after college, may mga beach volleyball tournaments kasi they also tried to invite me to call the games. But parang I didn't see that in me. And besides, parang yun na nga, I was like taking care of the kids, yung gano'n. So, hindi ko talaga siya naisip until yun nga, Tita Moying approached me and they were going to have this league na bago na ganyan and he wants me to be part of it. Ganyan. So sana try mo lang. Like if you don't want it after a while, go yung parang just try it. So yun. So yung try na yun ended up. So this is me 16 years after.
Yeah. So, kamusta naman yung experience po? Kasi syempre, malaking advantage na you were a player before. So, alam niyo po yung galawan ng each position, yung mga plays, yung mga like spiking, setting, and all these other skills of volleyball. So, kamusta yung adjustment as an analyst? Like, did you miss playing po, ganun? Or something else?
In the beginning, I would still try to play from time to time. But, siguro just doing the games, yun na parang that makes me happy. And sabi ko nga, I love what I'm doing. And plus, the people around me kasi in PBL, really nice people, like nice bosses. And so it doesn't feel like work when you're there. So, yun lang. So, it's like, part of your routine.
Yeah.
Happy place nga eh.
Yeah, I like nga yung mga analysts like they also have like that is their second job, like sa PBA meron mga iba they have like another job, the second job kasi wala, it's just fun for them to do it, so it's not like it's work for them.
Exactly. So
So moving on to the next part po, it's the favorite part of a lot of people for sure is like how you were as a parent and how you molded like Kiefer, Thirdy, and Dani po as their mom, as everyone knows. So no, to start things off po, so how what was your parenting philosophies po and how did you guide them as they were growing up? Like maybe you could start off nung bata first. So si Keith, ay matanda, sorry. So si Kiefer, ganon, how it moved on to the other two also.
Well, in the beginning, syempre, when they're young, parang same lang naman how you treat them. Na. So, first and foremost, I want them, hindi naman sobrang disciplined na parang military or something. But I don't like lang whining, yung mga ganyan.
Okay.
Tapos, like, if you go to the store, but there's, not because anak ko sila, but lalo na si Kiefer. Si Kiefer kasi, when he was born, I think he was born mga 12 years old na kagad. He was so mature. Like 2 years old pa lang, he would take a bath by himself. Yung talagang, ang bilis, ano tawag dito, hindi siya nag-baby so much.
Yeah.
So that really helped me. And yun na nga, they're very disciplined. So, in a sense na, hindi man yung nagliligpit parang yun nga when we go to let's say a toy store and I would go like guys hanggang 50 pesos lang yung natin ang budget parang they would pick naman 50 pesos lang they would parang cry or whine over a toy that they like na mahal gano'n so ganun lang so it was actually easy wala sa kanila yung nag-wild or something ganun parang kaya it wasn't so hard for me when they were growing up. Plus, yun nga, like si Kiefer, basketball kagad. So, just give him a basketball and it's fine. Si Thirdy yung medyo parang maraming mga computer. Si Thirdy, I think, introduced na sa computers. So medyo siya yung that part naman. Si Dani was more malikot of the three. So, siya hinahabol-habol talaga. So, but nothing really hard or difficult.
Okay po. Then one other question po was that I'm really curious about and that's one of my interests also is like how does sports affect kids? Like they say kasi kunwari like pag nag-sports, madaming natututunan na values and mga virtues and yung mga sportsmanship, ganun, teamwork and all these virtues. So nung bata po ba sila, did you like make them talaga try sports tas na naturally in love din sila? Kasi Dani po, she made kwento nung una that she tried acting pa nga or something with Thirdy tapos parang sobrang gulo nilang dalawa. So parang it was a sign daw for her that she should just be an athlete, ganun. So, yeah, ano yung effect ng sports po sa kanila from your perspective?
Well, kasi we had a rule in the house that you have to have something, meaning parang a talent naman, di ba? That you parang a hobby, parang ganyan. So that was really a rule. So si Kiefer, obviously, parang giveaway basketball kagad at 4 years old. So you kind of knew what he wanted in life. So si pero si even so si Kiefer tried football, singing, guitar, ganyan.
Dami.
Kasi feeling ko let's explore. You might have, 'di ba, another talent or something, 'di ba? So sayang naman, 'di ba? If parang basketball kagad parang default masyado. So, ganun sila, even Thirdy. So, we tried football, badminton, baseball. So, ganun din. Para they would also know that they really like this certain sport, di ba? It's not because they see it always or their dad kasi played it. Yung parang ganun, kawawa rin kasi, di ba? Na parang forced into, let's say, a sport that they don't like naman pala or wala naman silang talent for it. So, ako naman, to be fair, parang, sige, let's explore, let's try. Malay mo, si Thirdy pala sa singing magaling. Pero hindi, obviously, hindi. So si Dani nga, baka sa acting magaling, hindi rin pala. So hindi din. So basta para fair lang. So that parang sila din na-try din nila. And I think the experience also helps them in the chosen path, di ba? In the chosen career. So, kasi katulad yan, sila, they get to be interviewed or sometimes they do mga social media, they have to dance, they have to, to sing a little bit, ganun. So, I think eventually, no, parang it also helped them. So may ganun, parang basta meron, you have to have something. Hindi pwedeng wala na, you just laze around and like watch TV or you just play computer parang the entire day. Hindi rin naman pwede. So, kailangan meron kang ginagawang parang for pwedeng career or pwedeng hobby or pwedeng basta may you have to have something.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier po that it wasn't like that hard to manage them when they were growing up. Pero yung sports po nga, do you think that it really helped like them in their maturity? Kasi nga madaming natututunan na virtues. Kasi yun, madaming na-encounter na ups and downs din. So do you think yung pahahasa nila sa basketball and volleyball po, it really helped in their maturity as teenagers and then ngayon adults po?
Most definitely. Kasi when you're in a team, like, syempre you get to meet a lot of people, good, bad, coaches. Yeah. But one thing with us kasi, like, when they're home, sige, kami yung coach nyo. But when they're at school or with the team, the coaches are the coaches. Parang we let them rin, parang have the respect of we don't parang meddle with the coaches and with ever parang ganon. So even if like we know all their coaches, even if we're friends with them, ganon, unless they discuss our kids with us, so that's the only time. Pero we let them coach them. Yung ganon. We give them the certain respect that a coach needs. Parang ganon. Swerte naman, more or less my kids naman went through really good coaches that helped them along the way. And si Dani, even if like palit-palit siya ng sports, I think meron pa rin siyang learning, diba? In every sport that
na-share niya po. Here.
Yeah, yun. Meron din for sure. And that which helped her be Dani of today.
Yeah. So, another aspect of them growing up and who they are now is yung student athlete po kasi they're like not in their house a lot. So as a mother po, how tough was that hindi mo sila nakikita masyado kasi nasa school, so academics and then training that you mentioned nga po, like in this generation yung training ibang klase, like every day, minsan twice a day. Tapos minsan nagdo-dorm pa siguro sila or like they stay with their teammates. So kamusta naman yung you guiding them po even if you don't get to spend a lot of time like physically with them?
Well, kasi in the beginning, lalo na no grade school, when they're in grade school, yung young pa sila, kinareer ko yan. Parang feeling ko nga, it is one of the, let's say, parang important aspect in building a student athlete. Kasi, I was there for them in the beginning. So, syempre, pag bata ka, di ba? And then you go to trainings, you go to games, you go to competitions, you always ask him para lalo na pag nagkakamali, di ba, you always ask for parang titingin sa parents or affirmation na parang it's okay, parang ganon. So I think that helped their confidence a lot. So kaya nga sabi ko no regrets because in the beginning, I was really there for them almost in all the games and even in practices. Parang I kind of made sure that yung confidence nila of like having a bad game or making a mistake, an error, na okay lang yan. Parang I was there to parang tell them that. Yun lang yung parang silent namin. Tapos after na lang parang it's alright, it's part of the game. So I think it built a little bit of parang it was parang a little bit of help in forming their confidence. Na parang, I got you. There's somebody there na parang okay lang pala. So, pag may interviews nga about yung parenting, like I always say that because I really think na medyo malaking tulong yon growing up.
Malaki, yes.
So,
sure.
So when they're in high school, na kaya na nila, na okay na sila, na confident enough na sila, Parang yon, okay na, but you can leave them na. But of course, we're still always there at their games, yung ganyan. Or kung may mga meetings, or kung pwede sumilap sa practice, gano'n. Sa mga tune-up games, ganyan. We still try to go.
Yeah, so nung growing up po with them, si Thirdy din po, nung first few years niya in Ateneo seniors division, hindi rin siya masyadong gamit. Tapos hindi nga siya nakalaro nung isang year. Tapos si Dani din, ata parang hindi siya masyadong nagagamit din nung una and people were bashing her din. So at least for the two of them, how did you guide them po? Because like you can relate it po to your experience in Miriam nung medyo bangku ka. So paano mo po na-impart sa kanila yung ganong mga lessons and nung nag-guide mo po or mentor sila?
Well, exactly what you said. Yun nga, yung parang I've experienced it, so I know the feeling. So at first, syempre, hindi mo naman, there's also proper timing di ba? To me kasi, like for example, kung pagkakapangyari yan, sige, I would tell them, iyak mo yan, 1 week after that, parang okay na tayo, parang ganyan. I'm like that, parang, sige, let them sulk muna for a week, or syempre, mo yung privilege mo yun, syempre, it's not an easy thing. So, may ganun kami, tapos, okay na, after that, okay, what will we do? I'm like that kasi parang, sige, what's the next plan? We cannot do this parang for a month or, di ba, okay, what's next? Naiyak mo na yan, finish na. So, that's the reality now. So, what do we do? Like, for example, in Thirdy's case, after a week, iyakan kami, iyakan, ganyan lahat ng so, after a week, okay, kuya, what will we do now? Okay, personal trainer. Okay, let's pay sama to para lang ma-build ulit yung confidence mo. So that's what we did. Tapos yun, nag-work hard siya. Tapos he was able to come back okay. Ganon. Si Dani naman, in the beginning nga kasi, parang, kasi naman, you're not a natural volleyball player, diba? Tapos, you tried out din sa mga ibang sports. So, hindi ka rin parang equipped. Diba? Tapos in college, dun ka lang yung talagang maglalaro ng todo-todo sa UAAP. So you have to be patient, diba? But again, basically, it's again working hard and waiting for your time to come. Ganun naman always diba? Kasi nga, siguro because yung story of my life was like that, then ang dali ko sabihin. Kasi hindi nila pwede dispute. Diba? Hindi nila, because it happened to you So, hindi nila pwede, parang story lang yun, or inventa ka lang or something. So, no, hindi, it's not. So, yun lang din siguro. So sometimes, pag nagkaka-result, so, syempre, they believe you na. So, it makes parang, ano ba tawag dito? Telling them something easier, di ba? Parang they get it right away.
Naniniwala po talaga ako. Like, I had interviewees also, like sila Aaron Black, sila Anton Asisio, and even Dani. Like, they really say na yung support system, super important yan, lalo na like for athletes. Kasi madaming parang external factors that can affect you, and then pwede kang nilang i-influence or attempt ka to do other things. Tapos yung career mo pwedeng mawasak or like wala na after like few actions lang that you did. Parang ganun.
Yeah, it takes parang one big thing, di ba, that can happen to you, and wala, sayang pinagpaguran mo. And ako always naman, I always remind them yun nga, be respectful of what you have now, di ba, yung career mo, yung sport mo, which I think with all my 3 kids so far, parang yung sport nila, it's really good to them. So they have to really love it and appreciate it, and talagang the passion has to be there, and you also in the same manner na parang what you can do to help the sport, laging nandun. You have to give back.
So yung next question po is about social media naman po, because maybe po yun naman that si Kiefer, Thirdy and Dani, people love bashing them. I don't know why, but like especially Kiefer, at least like lalo na nung na-suspend siya nung 1.5 years, binabash siya, or like nung latter part nung career niya sa Ateneo because they weren't winning na, and they said it's because he doesn't pass the ball. And then si Thirdy din, madaming bashers, and Dani. So for you naman po, how do you like teach them naman po with like social media? Kasi like your time po nung UAAP, wala naman po masyadong social media nun. Like yung fans lang siguro yung nagta-trash talk sa inyo. Pero now, dumadami na dahil may social media na, tas may fans pa pag naglalakad sa mall and stuff like that. So how do you guide them po with the social media, like how rampant it is now?
Well, in the beginning, ako talaga yung affected kasi nga, back to what you said, wala namang ganyan before, diba?
Yeah.
So parang it is really me. So luckily lang, yung kids ko, like lalo na si Keith, ang resilient lang talaga. Maybe because he knows naman who he is. And he, actually, alam mo, ang weird part, even the friends of Kiefer would always say, it's so weird why they attack him all the time. And when you get to know him, he's really one of the nicest guys.
Yeah. Favorite lang nila. Asa rin.
Oo, because nga siguro, si Kiefer, ngayon na nga lang siya, he answers na but before, would not. He would just parang let it be. Parang yaan mo na lang, mom. Yung lagi siyang gano'n. Siyempre ako, like, what? Parang that's so inventor. That's so parang sobrang below the belt. Yung ganyan. Sabi niya, it's them. Like, di ba? It's not, because if it's not true, then why get affected? So, eventually, sila yung nagturo sa akin baliktad. Yung kids ko yung nagturo sa akin na parang, Mom, why will you listen to someone who's anonymous or someone who can't even put their picture on their social media? Like, diba? Crazy. Kaya like sometimes ako naman, parang pag sobrang below the belt, I would answer lang parang siguro, patawa or minsan bibigyan ko lang ng konting truth.
Yeah.
Kasi many times, people don't know naman the truth. And sometimes lang it gets to you because ikaw, you know the truth but you can't parang put it out there.
Yeah.
Tapos you just parang suck it in like all the bashes. Ganon. Nakakaawa for my kids. Yung parang ganon. But nevertheless, siguro wala, nasanay na lang na ganon. And you just turn it into, again, motivation.
Yeah.
And parang, sige, hard work na lang para they can't say anything about their game. Kasi eventually naman, kasi like si Kiefer, even if like he makes it to the top assist, diba?
Ibabash pa rin.
Number one, ibabash pa rin siya. So parang minsan nga naiisip mo, parang why would you even like, diba, give them time or wala na lang. Kung galit sa'yo. So, siguro yung mga tao na lang din, baka they find happiness or they find, ewan ko, if they do that. So, sige na lang, okay lang. Kami, we understand din. Baka iba rin yung nakukuha nila kasing info or baka, ano ba tawag? Siguro may idol din silang iba, yung gano'n. So,
yung rival. Parang
So kami, we try to understand na lang. Kasi eventually, parang ano pa bang gagawin mo? And siguro may iba rin silang iniisip or mahirap rin yung iniisip nila. May mga troubles din sila, kaya lang sila ganun.
Yeah,
so, okay lang.
Yung ibang fans din, pag nag-reply ka na nga, nakakatawa because they say sorry pa or something. They realize.
Totoo yan. Parang there were times na actually, most of the time, kasi I rarely answer naman eh. So, when I answer, most of the time, I get that. Na parang, they would say, sorry, they would, gano'n. Siguro nga, hindi nga lang talaga nila alam. Or they also get their info from other social medias na info na yung mali. Yung gano'n. So, iintindihin mo na lang. Tsaka at times like this, parang, diba, wag na lang intindihin yung hate or yung baka iba frustrated lang sobra.
Yeah. Yung ibang fans din po, like, kumari, right after the game, siguro magti-tweet ka agad sila. Pero when they think about it like an hour or 2 hours after, nadala lang sa emotions or something.
Correct. Kaya nga, diba, think before you click.
Diba? Tapos si Dani din yata po, like, nung may basher si Thirdy or something, siya yung sumasagot. I remember, like, 2 years ago.
Minsan kasi it's so personal na parang sobrang invento. So it really gets to you na parang, nandito ka ba sa bahay namin?
There's so many, there's so many behind the scenes po kasi na wala naman sa camera na hindi nila alam. Parang ganun.
Yeah, and plus yun nga, sometimes there are also things na ano ba, even my kids protect na hindi na lang nila sasabihin kasi may ano pang iba yung mga ganon. So nakakaawa rin talaga. They just parang sige na lang, they just take it. They'll take all the punches na lang.
Yeah.
So pero siguro it comes with the territory and siguro blessed naman sila. So okay na lang. Kaya lang, yun nga sometimes nga we tell them, oh, baka too much out, you're putting too much out there. Kaya lang sometimes, parang they also say, parang if you believe in something, if you have parang the platform to speak out, diba? Parang ang hirap din na you just stay quiet all the time. Of course, there are some na you stay quiet na lang, but there are issues na sometimes because, diba, you have the platform.
Yeah.
You owe it to other people also na, to say what you think.
Yeah, I remember lang one time pa na ginawan pa ng article si Kiefer is yung sinagot niya yung nagsuot siya ng Jordan shoes sa BBC or something. Tawan-tawa ako nun kasi the guy was like, he shut up na, parang ganun.
Kasi naman, like, would you think Kiefer would wear it kung bawal pa? Diba? Yeah. Obviously, it was Nike who made him wear it. Yeah. So, parang katulad nun, I think hindi siya masyadong nag-isip for that, diba? Yeah. na he just put it out there na parang ang sama-sama na Kiefer won't even like do that to Nike kasi he's been with Nike for like since first year high school.
Yeah, matagal
so,
na.
Would you think na gagawin niya sa Nike na papahiyan niya na may nakalabas na shoe, diba? Yeah. May nakalabas na pair. So, hindi yun. So, sometimes lang yun nga, siguro nauunahan sila nung inis nila or something without thinking.
Yeah. Another event that really helped in this pandemic for at least for your family is the time you spent together. Like I asked Dani then sobrang saya niya kasi she finally got to spend time with her brothers. Like before kasi pag may U-up, lalo na she barely spends time with them, and also if she has a season like in UAP also. So gaano kalaki yung tulong nung pandemic in order for you guys to like spend time together, lalo na nung April, mga May of last year, parang people made articles pa that you guys bond a lot, ganun.
It was really precious because for the last 10 years before the pandemic, like they were all in UAAP. So the practices kasi sa Ateneo were like sa gabi. So they go to school in the morning. Tapos mga 5 to let's say mga 9. So never kami nagdi-dinner together unless there's no practice. So for the last 10 years, that was our life. So parang ang hirap din kasi like it was not normal. So you don't get to see them most of the time. Tapos pag UAP season, there's games naman Wednesdays and weekends. So wala kayo yung mga talagang proper weekend na Sundays, yung mga ganyan. So but still parang you're blessed naman with parang having your children naman in the UAAP. So we look at it that way kasi it was also bonding of some sort na parang we watch the games together. Pero yun na nga, during the pandemic, parang forced ka talaga inside the house, and we kind of, probably each of us realized how we missed it. Yung the little things like board games or charades or whatever. Mga or eating lunches and dinners together. Para na normal sa iba, pero to us it was so precious. Plus kasi si Thirdy was going to Japan na
mga September,
so parang we
October.
Had October siya. So
October.
Parang we were given that much time to really stay with each other. Diba? So sobrang precious talaga nun. Super.
From a mother's naman perspective, was there any like time during the whole pandemic that you talked to them, or like the best lesson or learning you taught them like ngayong pandemic? Kasi ang daming nangyayari, like lalo na sa Philippines. And syempre, walang sports, so baka they're becoming restless at home even if like there's a court that I see that they play in outside, ganun.
Yeah. Kasi syempre during the pandemic naman you're forced to stay at home. Parang ang maganda lang with us, we talk about everything. Like we talk about things and then hindi lang laging sports. So yung mga nasa news, like how we would deal with it or how we look at it, yung kanya-kanyang perspective, and we discuss it. And minsan yung talagang galing ng exchanges eh. Kasi syempre, yung young ones, they have a different perspective as like kaming mga older ones. So, yun lang yung maganda because we always talk about things, whatever, or mga reminisce, or what to do next, what's next, or things in the house that you need. So sila Kiefer din, for example, si Kiefer natuto siya yung nag-grocery for us. So natuto siya talaga nung pandemic na siya yung lumalabas for us para kasi 'di ba parang siguro health sa isip namin healthier siya.
Yeah.
So siya yung lumalabas for us. Tapos natututo sila na in the house pala you need this and this para kung may mangyari kailangan may ganito ganyan. So galing din yung little things na nape-prepare din sila in life. Diba yung adulthood kasi eventually syempre they will get married, they will separate naman. Yeah. So ito yung parang time na kailangan ganito pag marami kang dogs ganito yung responsibility mo yung
ang dami yung dogs po eh.
Ang dami namin dogs
sa Instagram.
So, kasi before parang wala lang diba they're there tapos they see naman they're okay tapos you take care of them now pero now kasi hands-on sila like take care of your own dog or diba? So may mga ganun yung akala mo lang na siguro taken for granted before because they didn't have time naman talaga. So now you have the time ngayon talaga natutunan nila even to cook. Kasi before Thirdy left parang fina-force ko siya to learn mga mga simple cooking lang kasi syempre he'll be alone.
Natuto naman po.
I think buhay pa naman siya sa Japan. So I think it's okay.
So how about po like the best advice or conversation that you could share na hindi naman masyadong personal? Like kunwari lumapit sila sa'yo or like you felt that they were down tapos kinausap mo sila tapos biglang after a few days na rejuvenate sila tapos masaya na sila or gumaling na sila ulit sa sport nila. Meron bang mga ganong conversations na you'll never forget na syempre nakatulong talaga sa kanila for the long run?
There are many. Like many, I cannot count. Like syempre si Kiefer like gone through a lot, like crazy stuff.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Alam mo yun, minsan nagugulat ako sa resilience niya. Pero natatakot din ako at the same time as a mom that he just takes it. Like he will never, let's say, magdadamay or never finger point, yung ganyan, never. He'll just take it. So as a mom, sometimes you also worry, diba? But other times you also commend naman the resilience nga. Tapos si Thirdy rin the same when that happened nga, what we were talking about, yung he didn't make it sa grades na ganyan. So, yun na parang tama lang na a week iyak-iyak and then after he followed na ito na gagawin natin. So, he followed lang. Wala ka nang nakuwang, siyempre to some others siguro baka to some other kids baka wala na, hirap mo na talagang mahirapan ka to put him back up, yung ganyan, to keep him on track. Luckily si Thirdy naman, yun lang, siguro a week and then he's okay again. He was okay again. And si Dani naman also had her moments. So she also parang at one point didn't want to play anymore.
Na-share niya yun.
She really didn't want to play anymore. So kami, we had to think of mga, syempre kasi syempre if you, bad mo ito, punish her naman or ipilit mo sa kanya. Diba? You cannot do that naman din. So we had to think of ways for her to understand how to love it again, how to love volleyball again. So yung mga ganon. So, and to each his own So Kiefer is different from Thirdy is different from Dani. So you have to have a different game plan for each of them.
Parang sports din.
Buti na lang talaga. Sports ako. Hindi, mahirap.
So as we wind down po, these are like the final few questions po that I asked all the guests that I have. So one question po is yung sa NBA po nung nasa bubble, the players were very socially active and yung like they were telling people how to vote ganyan kasi 'di ba may elections po nung November.
Yeah.
So here po sa local scene, like I asked Dani din po, like sa volleyball nga parang feeling niya konti lang sila yung very vocal about social and political issues here sa Philippines. So for you po, what's your standpoint if like athletes being vocal and being articulate with their thoughts and educating rin siguro their followers with social and political issues? Kasi like a lot of the athletes here, may platform sila, may followers sila. So pwede nilang turuan yung mga followers nila with those topics. So what's your standpoint with athletes and politics or social issues?
Well, ako, basically, it's a good thing that they have a stand, that they are active with their platforms. But it also entails the responsibility of knowing, entirely the issue. So, hindi pwedeng parang, alam mo yun, mababaw lang yung tingin mo or basa mo dun sa issue. You really have to know what you're talking about. You have to speak accordingly na hindi naman comes out bastos or parang arrogant yung ganon, and yun na nga, basically it's like at least your truth may basis before you put it out there. It cannot be like parang bandwagon nga, just joining other athletes and all.
Mas mahirap po yun.
Oo. So, kailangan may responsibility siya. If you want to do it, if you want to make a stand, if you want to influence others, at least ikaw to yourself, you know na yun, kumbaga, in your heart and in your mind, knowing the issue entirely, ito yung stand mo. Okay lang yan. So, it may not be favorable to others, but at least ikaw, madi-defend mo kasi siya eh. Why you look at it, why your perspective is that way. So sa akin, okay pag gano'n.
Yeah. Yung ibang guests ko din, parang sabi, baka it's also the culture. Kasi yung Filipinos, mas hindi vocal din. Like yung ganun lang talaga natural na alam nila, like they're educated and they're knowledgeable. Pero hindi sila confident, hindi nila feel na i-post sa social media kahit feeling nilang madaming makakakita.
Kasi sometimes, di ba, parang it also hinders your your belief pag gano'n, yung culture na gano'n. That's why probably we're gantong state in this state, diba?
Yeah. So for the next question po, it's just fun question. This is from a podcast sa abroad, the basketball, and they ask their guests po, if you had the choice to have 5 guests within a formal dinner, whether they're dead or alive, who are the 5 people that you'd choose?
For volleyball ba? Basketball?
Any sport. Not sport, like any person in the world. Like kahit Jose Rizal. Like a lot of people said Jose Rizal.
Okay.
Or Barack Obama.
Oh, grabe. It's so hard. Wait. Sino ba gusto ko? Siguro, siyempre for sport, gusto ko Kobe Bryant. That's one. Tapos, siyempre, ano pa ba? Maybe siguro matapang pa. Wait, ang hirap
Yeah, ang dami mo kasing gusto parang
gano'n. Ang dami mo,
na
kailangan i-break, 2 to 5. Shucks, ang hirap. Wait, baka Andres Bonifacio.
Okay.
Para makita mo kung ano yung...
yung mga pinagdaanan.
Di ba yung mindset? Yung mindset na parang, paano ka pong makipaglaban ng chat? Di ba? Yung kano katapang ang matapang. Kano ba dapat? Tapos, maybe, si Oprah.
Okay, yes.
Si Oprah. Tapos, siguro, kasi super mysterious, maybe si Lady Diana.
Yeah. Kakaibang answer. No one said that yet.
Gusto ko, yung din, the way she thinks, parang curious ako.
Yeah.
And makichismis siguro ng konti.
Yeah.
And
one more.
sino pa ba? One more. Ano bang, maybe, gusto kong ma-entertain. Gusto ko si Donald Trump. Gusto ko
Ano kaya matututunan niyo po?
para ibang perspective naman na parang
Okay.
maisip ko lang bakit niya ginawa lahat ng mga ginawa niya.
Yeah. That's very
Wala lang, yung
entertaining.
parang like in one table, you have all these people, diba?
Yeah.
Na parang si Oprah and si Donald in one table. Oh my goodness, diba?
Yeah. So with the last question po, I ask also all my guests, who do you think po I should invite here on the DVD show? Like, it doesn't need to be volleyball lang or basketball players. Like, it can be any person and from any sport kasi I tackle various sports naman. So, sino yung suggest niyo po na pwede kong i-invite sa podcast?
Ako parang interesting to know yung mga nag-o-Olympics. Any of them. Yung feeling kasi like in our country kasi syempre first step mo okay collegiate and then next yung aim mo mag-national team and most of us hanggang SEA Games lang eh. So the higher kumbaga the winning sports yun yung nakaakyat na Asian Games, 'di ba? So in a sense that's the highest level na achievable to most of the athletes in the Philippines. So parang pag nag-Olympics ka, sobrang different level eh. And I think yung kasi like sabi ko nga yung hard work, like I see lang my kids how hard they work, no? Pero imagine mo yung nakaka-Olympics pa, how much harder it is for them to get there. So medyo interesting rin to note how yung journey nila to getting into such a grand and highest level siguro in sports. And ano pa ba? And siguro yung ano rin, ano ba ang tawag ko dito? People who marami kasi mga grassroots that they're doing. So a lot of groups do that. So siguro yun din, yung parang ano ba yung achievable sa Philippine setting when you say grassroots. Kasi ang laging ginagamit yung grassroots na word eh. Diba? Diba yung term? Pero hindi, diba? Parang hindi ko makita yung ano ba yung real na pag sinabi mong grassroots. At saka ano ba yung ina-achieve, let's say, if you have a grassroots program, ano talaga, yung ganon. Or ano ba yung hanggang saan lang ba yung gusto nilang i-achieve? Pwede rin naman, diba? So let's say, yung NU, why do you have a sports academy? Why? What do you want to achieve in the future? Diba? Yung mga ganon, interesting if you parang see revenue, yung ano ba talaga yung gusto nila? Tsaka how to get there, what's the route? Or what are they doing? Kasi may maraming ganyan especially in the ones that parang they do it, they start with mga public schools. So interesting din yan for me. Parang baka sa iba hindi. Pero sa akin kasi di ba it's always a used word, grassroots. But you don't know what a successful grassroots program is. Or have you seen one?
Maganda po yung suggestions nyo kasi it's like unique. Parang it's not like the content that people normally put out there. So if you have something unique, malay mo mag-click parang gano'n.
Diba? Basta lang, parang siguro halo lang. Alam mo naman sa Philippines, normally they want a personality. Diba? It's really like that. It's medyo, mga idol, natin culture. So if you have a personality that interested sila, which is actually doing, who is actually doing it. So okay, then kung ganun.
So thank you so much po again for joining me here on the DVD show. I really appreciate it po and ang dami niyo pong lessons na na-share dito sa show ko. And sana po matuto rin po yung mga viewers and yung mga manunood nito. Do you have any last message po to the people watching this?
Well, siguro, hang on, di ba? All of us naman, we're in the same plane. So, like right now, pare-pareho tayo. Everybody's frustrated, a little bit scared,
Mm.
diba? So we have each other. That's the best part. So, and maybe siguro lesser hate,
Mm.
diba? Parang we don't need it at this point.
Mm.
And maybe siguro mas maganda pa nga if we pass on love or care or all those positive things. Help out whenever
Yeah.
you can, whatever you can. It doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be material, but ano mo, you can do a lot of things to help others.
Mm.
And yun lang, just keep on praying. And I hope everybody stays safe. Sana bumaba na yung numbers ng COVID.
Yeah.
And, and sana lahat ma-vaccinate na
Yeah.
soon. So siguro at least may ease out. So yun lang naman. And
Yeah.
stay safe, everyone. And
Yeah.
thank you again and congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you po. Well, lastly po, before you go, is it okay if we take a picture?
Sure.
Okay, sige po. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you so much po again and stay safe po and thank you again for joining
Thanks,
me on the
Ego.
podcast.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
All
you.
right, bye.